The Blodgett Show. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and you are listening to this week's episode of Storytime Friday.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Storytime Friday. For those of you new to the show, my name is Chris. I am your host. And what we do on this show is we do a real talk episode every Tuesday. Sometimes there will be special episodes. Part of real talk, which would be keeping it real, which basically is I get on the phone with either my friend Barry or Rico or both, and it's called the Keeping It Real segment. Basically just shooting the shit back and forth, talking about whatever. And then there's another special segment that we sometimes do called the Raw Chat segment. With that one, I get on a recorded call with my buddy Dave Goldberg, who's also a writer as well. Has some good stories if you want to check him out. I believe his email that you guys can reach him at is authordgoldberg, GOLDBERG @gmail.com. Feel free to, or technically you could email him at the raw chat email he created for that segment. Basically, it's rawchatpod @gmail.com. Just drop him an email and basically just ask him, hey, can I check out, what do you got? I want to see what books you've written. I'm sure he'd be happy to send you over a copy. Let's just check it out. But yeah, the Raw Chat episode is basically I get on the phone with David Goldberg, and he gets a couple other truckers on the line, and we basically just go back and forth. And it's pretty. Most of the time, it's a pretty fun time. Every so often it gets pretty heated, especially when you talk about the current state of the government and the country and whatnot. But aside from that, could go on for a while, but I don't want to ramble too much because I want to just go ahead and get into this week's story. This is actually take two technically because I started to record, doing another freestyle story for you. But I started to record, I started to go into the story, and the problem is I, because being tired, end of the week, got partway into the story and I had a brain fart. So all of a sudden, my mind went blank on where I was trying to go with the story, and I was like mouthing the words, shit. So it's like, fuck. All right, So I basically ended the clip or ended the recording and figured, well, let's start over. It's like, damn it. Especially when you already do an intro, it's like, man. So before we begin, could follow the podcast on social media at Blodgett Show Podcast on Instagram, and personal socials for me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook would be TN Trucker Chris. X would be CEAZ Freedom, and YouTube at Christopher Blodgett. And anybody that wants to, if you're a creative writer and you have some stories that you've written that you want me to feature on the show, especially if they're decent length stories, not like 5 or 10 minutes, but like half hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half, whatever. Feel free, if you want them to be featured on the show, feel free to send those to me at blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. I will definitely check them out, and if they're, as long as they're, suitable for our listeners, then I could end up reading your story on the podcast and stuff. On those stories, if you want me to give you a little shout out, like advertise something for you, or draw traffic to you, just on the intro on the story, just written by so and so, and have this business and it's this website, whatever. But okay, cool. I would totally give you a shout out and be like, yeah, reach Dan at this email address. He does this business. You can go to his website, whatever. I'll do it, because that's all these social networks. That's what it's all about, try to connect and network with people, So on that note, and also, anybody who wants to support the show, because any donations at all will go to like helping with like the hosting cost or future merch, or getting the Blodgett Show Storytime Friday stories published, so there can be actual physical copies people can buy. go to blodgettshow.com/support and feel free to donate. You can do like a one-time donation, or you can do a recurring. Anything as low as $1. Anything helps. Everything's appreciated. So definitely please donate if you're able to, and I appreciate it. But on that note, let's go ahead and dive in. I had to cover a little thing. It's like one struggle I have when it comes to trying to do these freestyle stories is like, especially when I try to come up with like 3 or 4 names, character names, and then I start the story. I'll start the story, and I'll immediately I might throw myself off because I'm trying to remember the names I decided on, and especially if it's like 2 couples, trying to remember the 2 couples' names and make sure I have who's with who. Because I think when I started this on the last attempt before I restarted, I mentioned the names, and then of course I immediately was like, wait a minute, did I say so and so or did I say so and so? I was like, fuck, shit, I gotta restart again. So, you know, it's all good. But on that note, we'll go ahead and get started. So once again, welcome to Storytime Friday. This week's story is called Into the Forbidden Woods. Tom and Anne and Jared and Bethany had been friends for probably about 15 years. They met in high school when all 4 of them were athletes on the school soccer team. They had gone to school at a much smaller school because it was a town of only like 5,000 people. So their class was only a couple hundred people. And unfortunately, they didn't have enough interest in the team on both the male and female side in order to have 2 teams. One of the other students in their class, their dad Robert had actually been the one that got the sport actually added to the school's roster. For years, they had all the other sports: basketball, football, track, cross country. They even had a golf team. But unfortunately, especially because Robert, having one of his kids going to the school, was very big on soccer. Was a local coach. His kid Michael actually was a very determined, very dedicated player on one of the local leagues. Played every single week during the season, and then would referee himself whenever he had a chance. As his dad Robert and his mom actually didn't allow him to actually work a regular job because they wanted him to focus on his school, but they had no problem with him refereeing as a side job because it didn't take him as much time. So when Michael was a freshman at the high school, his dad Robert started petitioning the school board, trying to get them to agree to add soccer as one of the sports for their school. Took a couple years. It took at least a few years because the school board fought him every step of the way. But finally, when Michael was a junior, they voted on it and they added it to the available sports that were being offered at the school. Sadly, Michael actually he really wanted his dad to actually be the coach, but despite having, you know, had a little bit of a win as far as getting the sport added, he couldn't get himself brought on as a coach for the high school team. So he just basically he took the win in the way that he could get it, and was just happy with the fact that soccer was added. So they hired a different coach, and Michael got to play for at least his junior and senior year, making some good memories. On his way out as a senior was the first year that Jared and Ann and Tom and Bethany played on the sport, or played on the team. They met Michael briefly on his way out a couple months before his graduation, and they were juniors going into their senior year. So after Michael graduated and the other four went into their senior year, they joined the soccer team. They approached one of the faculty and kind of asked them what the deal was, why there was only one team, and why it was co-ed. And basically, they explained it to them that there just wasn't, even though the sport was added, there just wasn't enough interested players for them to form two teams. So they just combined the two. They had male and female players on the team. Tom and Ann actually had only basically been dating for a few months when they initially had met Michael, and heard that heard all about the soccer team only having been 2 years old. But then when they went into their senior year, that's when they met Jared and Bethany. Going through their soccer season in their senior year, they really clicked with one another and would hang out quite a bit, especially after the games. Tom would look over as he's sitting in the booth right next to his girlfriend Ann. He would look over at Jared and Bethany, and then he'd look at Jared and grin, and Jared would kind of look at him funny with one of his eyebrows raised. And then Tom leans over to the side, takes Bethany's milkshake, and takes a big swig. Hey! Ann said, grabbing the milkshake and pulling it back. That's delicious, Tom said. Mother... Damn right, it's delicious. What the hell, babe? Oh, I'm sorry, love. Sorry, Tom said, grinning. You guys are funny, Jared said, laughing. All of a sudden he felt the pain in his side as Bethany elbowed him. Ow! What the hell was that for? He said, looking over at Bethany. You know, like if you even try that, I'm gonna, the elbow you just got, the shoulder is gonna be nothing compared to what's gonna happen. All right, fine, Jared said. I wouldn't steal your milkshake. Speaking of, and he reached over towards Bethany's milkshake a little bit, and then she glared at him. He just pulls his hand back. I'm just kidding. You better be kidding, Bethany said, looking at him. He raised his hand up in the air and called the waitress over. Hey, ma'am. Yeah, what can I do for you? Hey, can I go ahead and get a chocolate milkshake? Because, My girlfriend here offered to share, but then she took it back. I didn't know such thing, Bethany said, glaring at him. I know, babe, I know. I'm just messing with you. Jared said, "Yeah, absolutely." The waitress said, "I'll get your milkshake right. I'll get your milkshake right away. I'll bring it. It'll be right, or I will be right back. Thank you, ma'am." Jared said, "Oh, ma'am," Tom said really quick. The waitress stopped and came back. "Oh yeah. Hey, can I get a refill on my drink too, please?" "Oh, absolutely." The waitress said as she took his cup and walked away. "So," Tom said, looking over at Jared and Beth. So," Jared said. They sat there staring at each other for a few seconds. All of a sudden, Bethany kind of like grins, looks over, goes, "Awkward." What are you talking about?" Tom said, looking over at Bethany. "Well, I mean, you said so, and you kind of sat there staring at us like, geez, dude, make it a little, can you be any more comfortable?" "Oh, shut up. Don't tell me to shut up," Bethany said. "Don't you yell at my boyfriend," Ann said, looking over at Bethany. "Jeez, man, calm down, you guys," Tom said, look, at both of them. "All right, fine, jeez, all right. So, uh, so this year's been pretty crazy, huh, with the soccer matches," Jared said, looking over at, Tom and then Bethany, or Tom and then Ann, and giggled. "Yeah, it has, man. We've been getting our asses kicked all year." Jared was like, "Oh, it hasn't been that bad." Tom's like, "Really, dude? Really? Like, when's the last game that we actually won?" Jared cringed. "Well, it's not all about winning, right, man?" Tom's like, "Fuck you. It is about winning." "Dude, language," Jared said. "Oh, come on. Don't talk to me about fucking language." "Good lord, man. You're the mouth on your boyfriend there, and yeah, I know." Ann says, grinning and looking over him. "Yeah, dude, she likes my mouth." Tom says, "Aw, come on, guys." Bethany says across. "I'm just messing with you," Tom says. So anyway, um, Tom continued. "Yeah, it's been like this year, man. It's been a pretty tough year. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd still have fun whenever we play." "Oh yeah, of course," Jared said. "Like, I love the game. Been playing soccer for a while. Like I remember when we met Michael last year, you know, and we'd all been playing in the local league before we joined the high school team." "Yeah, man," Tom said. So Jared said, "It's like we just I don't know, man. We're just not that good." And it's like, "Come on, guys. You guys play really hard out there. You play your heart out and stuff." Tom's like, "Yeah, babe. Sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you play or how good you are, or how much, like how hard you try. Sometimes you still just suck." "That's funny," Jared said, laughing. Both the ladies kind of glared at him. "What are you guys looking at me like that for?" Jared said. "'Cause guys, it's not about winning." Tom's like, "Yeah, it is." Jared's like, "Yeah, what he said, man." "No, it's not," Ann said. "Yeah, totally, guys," Bethany said. It's you know what they say. It's not about whether you win or lose. It's whether you have fun." "Yeah, well, only losers say that shit," Tom said. "Shut up," Ann said. "Okay, fine. Jeez, I'm sorry. So, I was thinking, guys, like when we get out for the year, when we graduate, what do you guys say about going on this, like taking a kind of like a trip, before we all go to college or whatever?" "Like, what kind of trip, man?" Jared said. Tom thought for a minute. It's like, "Oh, well, I was thinking." Jared grinned. "Uh-oh." Tom's like, "Fuck you. I'm just messing with you, man," Jared said. So anyway, like I was saying before I got so rudely interrupted, said, glaring over at Jared. "Now it's my turn to say fuck you, man," Jared said. "Will you guys shut up and just let just Say what you're gonna say, babe, Anne said to Tom. All right, all right. So I was thinking, he said, pausing and looking over at Jared, like, with this look like, I dare you. Jared just kind of like grinned and shook his head. I'm not gonna, don't worry. I'm not saying anything. Tom continued. So I was thinking, he pulls out this map, lays it on the table, and spreads it all across the table. Jared and Bethany both look down at the map and then look back at Tom. What's this? Jared says. Well, this here is a map. Well, no shit, Jared says. What's it like? What's the map for? Tom grinned. Well, usually a map is for finding your way around, finding places. Jared's like, wow, you're being a real smart ass today, aren't you? Tom's like, yeah, a little bit. Not too much fun, is it? Jared's like, what's that supposed to be? Tom, never mind. So, Tom said, he pointed at area right at the top left corner of the map. You see this big area up here? Kind of looks like a lake up there. Jared looks at it, looks down, is like, yeah. Tom's like, well, there's not really a lake there. Jared looks down and then looks back at him. What are you talking about? Tom's like, that's actually there's actually a forest there. That, at least that's what I've heard. Jared looks down at the map again. He's like, so you're telling me there's some forest where that lake on the map is? Tom's like, yeah, that's right. Dude, you're full of shit, Jared says. No, man, I'm serious, Tom said. So, okay, so where did you hear this from, Jared says. I don't know, it's like there's a couple people around town, a couple friends of mine, whatever, they say that they've heard it from other people as well, that there's actually woods up that way, and they've literally referred to them as the Forbidden Woods. Forbidden, huh? Jared says. Why are they forbidden? I'm not sure, Tom says. I just know that that's what they tell me. But they say that they say they've heard rumors and they've heard stories from other people that said that it's kind of one of those pass along the grapevine type situations where they've heard stories for a long time saying that there have been people that have gone up there and gone into the woods and then we're just never seen or heard from again. Bullshit, Jared said. This sounds like a bunch of crap. I'm just telling you what I heard, man, Tom said. All right, Jared said. So what do you plan? What are you proposing? Like, we go on this trip, we go up to that part of the up at that area in that map or whatever. We go into these woods, check it out. Like, what? So we can disappear too? Tom laughed. You actually, kind of, yeah, but I'm like, not that we disappear, because I don't believe that shit. Do you? Jerry looked down at the map again, looked back up at him. Well, I don't know. Like, I try not to really discount local stories or whatever. So if somebody tells me something, I might not 100% believe them, but that doesn't mean I'm going to basically say it's not true. Tom looks down at the map, then looks back up at Jared. He kind of looks over at his girlfriend and kind of shrugs. Okay, so you guys don't have any, what do you think? He says, looking over at him. She says, kind of looking down the map. I don't know, because I'm really not, you know me, you and I can't even watch scary movies. I freak out. I'm all buried in your arms or whatever. I don't mind that, Tom says. Well, I know you don't mind that, babe, but that doesn't mean I want to go to that doesn't mean that I want to actually, push it and actually go to a freaking, does air quotes with their fingers, freaking forbidden wood. All right, so you vote we don't go? I'm not saying that, Dan said. So you hope we do go. I'm not saying that either. It's, well, damn it, babe. Tom said, what the fuck are you saying? Bethany laughs on the other side of the table. I think what she's saying, Tom, is that like she wants to go, but she doesn't want to go. Exactly, Ann said. I want to go, but I'm kind of not. I'm nervous about it, you know. But what do you think? What do you think, Jared? I mean, I'm down. You know, I'm kind of. I'll admit, I'm kind of nervous too, bro. But I mean, if you think we should check it out, you know, you really don't think there's a chance that we'll actually, he does air quotes again, or he does air quotes, that we'll, you know, go missing like these other people that supposedly went missing. No, I don't. I mean, you know how it is, man. Tom says, like that. There's never any guarantees of anything. Like hell, we could all go to sleep and not wake up tomorrow. Well, that's true, Jared said. All right, so I was thinking, Tom says, like, you know, graduation, you know, it's coming up, and then like the following week, you know, we can pack up and we're gonna like, let's take the week. Let's like, we'll go up that way. We'll park somewhere, one of the nearby parking areas. Take our camping stuff. Camping stuff. Jared says, we're camping out there? Well, bro, I don't think there's any like cabins or anything or hotels in the area. You know, that area up there is pretty desolate. Tom said, all right, you know, I mean, I'm not too big on camping, Jared says, but I guess we could do it, you know. Yeah, I'm not too me either. I'm more of a like, can we take a motorhome up there or something? And says like, all right, where do you want us to bring a motorhome into the woods, babe? Tom said, looking over at Ann. All right, fine, never mind. You know, I just, you know me, I would rather have, I'm more of a glamping kind of girl. Oh, I know, Tom says. Jared laughed and glanced over at Bethany. Bethany just kind of glared at him. Don't you say a damn word. I wasn't. Jared says, kind of looking away. Bethany laughs and looks back over at Tom. All right, so basically, you know, all right, so we're doing tents and stuff, and you know, basically camping out there. We're gonna hike through the woods or whatever. Yeah, pretty much. Tom said. That's kind of what I was thinking. All right, so waitress comes back. All right, so I have a milkshake for you, and here's your refill, sir. She says, handing Tom his drink and handing Jared his milkshake. Thank you very much, they both said. And will there be anything else, or would you guys like a check? Oh, just the check, please, Jared said. Okay, coming right up. Following weeks after their hangout at the diner, they had a couple more soccer games they got through through the end of the year, and just the previous week before they graduated, they had their last game, and to their surprise, they won against the other team. They were playing this team from a town called Grand Island, and during the game, it was very, very evenly matched. During the two 90-minute halves of the game, one team would score and pull ahead by one goal, and then their team would score and tie the game. Then the other team would score again and pull one goal ahead, and then they would score and tie the game up. This went on for the entire 45-minute half, and then second half started, and again, same trend. The other team scored, pulled one goal ahead, and then Tom and Jared and Bethany and Ann's team scored and tied the game up. They get to the last few minutes of the game, and they're down one goal. And as time ticks down to 0, they score a goal and tie the game up. Holy shit, man! We didn't freaking lose! Tom said, yelling over towards towards Jared. I know, man. Can you fucking believe it? Holy shit, guys! Bethany said. Oh my god, Ann says. Maybe we'll actually win one this before we graduate. That'd be fucking awesome. Tom says. Holy shit, dude. All right, let's go, guys. They run over to their coach and getting the lineup for who's gonna be on the field for offense for the overtime first round of overtime. So overtime starts, and as they're working through that session, each overtime session was like 10-minute overtime. Throughout the first 10 minutes of overtime, both teams kept exchanging possession of the ball and would manage to get to the other end of the field and take a shot on the goal and get blocked by the goalkeeper, or take a shot and have it go off the top post. So the time in the first overtime ticked down to 0, and they were still tied. One team had 5 goals, the other team had 5 goals. So then they proceeded into second round of overtime. And again, as time ticked down, one team would get to the other end of the field, take a shot, hit the post, exchange possession of the ball, and the other team would make it to their end, take a shot at the post. As time ticked down in the last minute, Bethany got possession of the ball right in front of the goal and passed it over to the side of the field to Ann, who then passed it a long ball upfield to Jared. Jared looks over from the right corner of the opponent's side of the field and sees Tom over there. Tom! Yeah, over here! Tom yelled. Jared kicked the ball a long, high pass over a lot of the other players. And as the goalkeeper tried to run out to block the ball, Tom jumped up in the air and did a bicycle kick, knocking the ball into the net. As the ball hit the back of the net, all of a sudden you hear tweet! And they look up at the scoreboard and see the score go from 5-5 to 5-6. All of a sudden, Ann, Bethany, Jared, and Tom meet in the middle of the field. Oh my god, we fucking won! Hugging each other. Like, can you believe it, guys? And says Bethany's like, oh my god, we won the last game. Holy shit! All the other players showed up, giving them hugs. Like, that was awesome, guys. Good job. They all right, guys, let's go. The coach hollers over from the other side. They all line up and they start. Get both teams line up and start shaking each other's hands. Good game, good game, good game, good game. Way to go, good game, good game, good game. Good job, player. Good, nice shot, man. They would say as they got up to Tom. Like, thanks, man. As he's. And then he gets to the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper's like, man, you got lucky. Oh, whatever, man. Good game. As they shake hands or whatever. They get back to the side of the field where the coach basically is telling them all like, oh my god, guys, you did awesome. You had a great season. Tom and Jared kind of laugh a little bit. The coach looks over him like, "Well, like you have something to say, boys?" He's like, "No, sir. It's just like that. We've lost all the other games." The coach is like, "Yeah, but you know what I say?" And goes, "I've been trying to tell him that all season, coach." Tell me what? Tom said. The coach like, "It's not a matter it's not important whether we win or lose." The coach started, and both Ann and Bethany's like, "It's that we tried our best and had fun, right, sir?" That's right, ladies. All right, guys. So go ahead, hit the showers, or hit the locker rooms, the showers, whatever. Obviously, you know, guys in theirs, girls in theirs, and you know, good job this season. Good admit, you know, it's not gonna be the same without you guys next year. But you guys finished strong. So congratulations, and I wish you guys, you know, if I don't see you guys before you graduate, I want to wish you guys the very best. So, you know, thank you, sir. All the players yelled before running off to their locker rooms to change. Graduation came and went very swiftly. It was a very action-packed event. Since their class is pretty small, it actually didn't take too long for the ceremony to be finished. So they all met up afterwards wearing their cap and gowns and gave each other high fives and headed off to their homes. When they, the following week, after they had been at home for a week or so, Tom and Ann met up at Tom's house, and they both had, you know, they had their stuff packed, had their tent, had their clothes, had whatever they're bringing with them. Hopped in Tom's Jeep and came over, you know, drove over to Jared's house where him and Bethany were waiting. They had all their stuff packed as well. Beep beep. Tom honked the horn as he pulled up in his Jeep. All right, man, I'm coming. Be right out. Hold on a second. Jared hollered out. All right, man, hurry up. Let's go. Yeah, we want to hit the road, Ann said. All right, just chill out, Jared said. You got everything, babe? He said, looking over at Bethany. I think so, Bethany said. I'm not really looking forward to the whole camping part, but, you know, I mean, could be fun still. Yeah, it'll be okay, Jared said. Just calm down, you know. No need to worry, babe. I know, Bethany said. All right, guys. Any day now, Tom says. All right, we're coming, Jared says. They grab their gear and they come walking out there. They throw their gear in the back and climb in. All right, let's do this, Jared said. All right, let's go, Tom says as he puts the car in gear and they haul ass down the road. The location on the map, Tom says, is like when I did the math, I was putting the figures, put the coordinates in my phone. It said it's like 150 miles away, whatever. Wow, that's pretty far, Jared says. That's not that bad, Tom says. But anyway, it says like an hour and a half away, or hour and 45 minutes away, or something. Actually, I guess probably like 2.5 hours, because I guess, you know, doing the math in my head, I'm like, wait, you know. So 145 miles, probably 2 hours-ish or whatever. And again, like, check this out, man. He says, holding his phone up with Google Maps on there. He's like, Jared looks at, kind of squints from the back seat. Wow, so even on Google Maps, it just shows like a lake out that way or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, isn't it, man? He's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. So yeah, when we get out there, like, I'm almost expecting. I'm not gonna lie, man. He says, kind of looking in the mirror back at Jared. I'm expecting there to just be a lake there, based on the fact that even Google Maps shows a lake. Yeah, that's kind of weird, Jared says. But well, it'll be interesting if we actually see woods out there. So they drive for 2 hours or whatever, up, follow the directions, and as they get within 30 or 40 miles of that location, they notice that, like, the way it takes them, the road literally gets off of the main road and it's a dirt road. So they get off and they're like, so it's not even a paved road out here, huh? Jared says. I guess not, Tom said. They go another 15 miles up, and you know, they're not seeing anything on either side. It's all like grass and wide open plains. And then they get up, and all of a sudden they come upon a sign that's just in the road, and it basically says, "Keep out." They look on both sides, whatever. There's no fence. There's not even anything that they can see um, past this sign. It's just literally more road. But yet, right in the middle of the road, it says, "Keep out. Do not proceed any further." And big bold letters up at the very top of the sign says, "Danger." And they're like, that's not, that's not scary at all. Jared says from the backseat. I mean, I guess. Tom says, but look, he points up ahead like, "I don't see anything up there, do you?" Jared's like, "Well, no, I guess not, but what do you think it means?" Aaron said. "I don't know," Tom said, "but the road's pretty wide, and like that sign's like right in the middle, so it's like we're in a Jeep. We could just go around it." "Sure that's a good idea, babe?" Dan says, looking over at Tom. "I mean, what, do you want to turn around?" "I mean, no, I'm just saying, there's a sign that clearly says 'keep out.'" Tom points up at the sign again. "Keep out of what, though?" "I mean, I don't know," Ann said. "All right, fine, let's go then," Ann said. I guess we'll just keep going. "You get us killed, I'm gonna fucking kill you," Ann said. "Right," Tom said. Right. Ann glares over at him. "I'm just kidding, babe. I'm just kidding," Tom says, as he puts the Jeep back in gear and maneuvers around the sign. As they get past the sign, they go another half mile, or another half mile from the sign, and all of a sudden, 1 minute, it's clear skies and nothing but wide open grassy plains around them. And up ahead, they do see what looks like a lake, and Tom kind of looks at the map, and then looks back in the mirror, and Jerry goes, "I guess maybe it is just a lake up here." Jerry's like, "I guess so," and then all of a sudden, they glance ahead, and the entire scenery changes. Suddenly, they're in an environment where the lake is gone. It's no longer a sunny day. Tom goes, "Whoa, what the hell?" and pulls the car over. And Tom looks in the mirror, and Jared goes, "Bro, where the fuck are we?" Jared goes, as he's just staring out the window, and he looks back at Tom, goes, where did we go? Like, there was a lake up ahead, wasn't there?" Tom's like, "Yeah, there was." "Okay, guys, I'm a little scared," Ann said. "Chill, relax, babe, it's gonna be fine," Tom said. "How the hell is it gonna be fine? How do you know?" Beverly said. So Jared, of course, still looking outside and not saying anything. Tom looks again back, like he turns to look back directly at him. "Jared, man, what should we do?" Jared looks at him and goes, I mean, "Bethany, what do you think?" Bethany's like, I don't know, babe. Maybe let's try to turn around." Tom's like, "You want to turn around?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, we don't know what happened. We don't know where we just went, because it's like, it's dark out here. The lake's gone, and there's, holy shit." She said, look up ahead of him. Tom's like, "What?" Looks ahead. "Oh, wow." All of a sudden, they saw that they were surrounded by woods. They were in a open clearing in a very dark wooded area. It wasn't even any road. It was just a wide open, a little bit of a wide open gap. And it was, thankfully there was room for their Jeep, but otherwise they were like, no roads, no lake, just a bunch of very, very odd shaped trees, very dark and gloomy. It's like, dude, when did it get dark? Jared says, I mean, it was light a second ago, Tom said, looking around. Hold on, like, should we get out and look around? I guess, Jared says, kind of like hesitating. I mean, you're not afraid, are you, dude? Tom said. No, of course not, Jared said. All right, well, then let's go. Like, I mean, ladies, you can stay here if it makes you feel safer. And me and Jared can go walk around and see if we see anything out here. You gonna leave us alone? Ann says. Well, no, you're not gonna be alone. You have Bethany back there. All right, fine. I guess. We'll protect each other, I guess, right? Right, Bethany? Ann said. Well, yeah, of course. We don't need the boys. Tom and Jared kind of laughed. You don't need us. That's funny. What, you think we need you? Ann said. Yeah, I think you do, Tom said. Typical guys thinking we need them. All right, boys, go check and go see what you can. See if you can see anything. We'll stay here. But we're gonna lock the doors when you guys leave, though. All right, that's fine, Tom said. Come on, bro. Both he and Jared get out of the car. They walk what feels like probably at least a quarter mile away from the Jeep, just kind of like walking through the forest, just checking things out. And they kind of work in a big like circle around the Jeep, just kind of walking through the woods, looking around, trying to see what they see. Jared looks over at Tom about 20 feet away from him. Hey, bro. Yeah, what's up? Tom said. Like, is it just me or like this whole area kind of just look the same? I mean, I'm not seeing the trees look different, but I'm not. It looks like this just looks like woods, like scary ass woods. Tom's like, yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking. But we brought our camping gear, so I guess we're okay for a minute. Like, I mean, we came here to try to find these woods, and so maybe we should just explore a little bit, right? Jared's like, yeah, sounds good. Let's do it. Let's go back, get the ladies, or whatever. And, I mean, we can still drive the Jeep even further in or whatever to try to find somewhere that we can set up our tents or whatever, and find a safe place to hunker down, and then we can, when it gets daylight again, we could try to explore or see what we find. I've only got one concern though, bro. Jared said, looking over at Tom. Yeah, what's that, man? Well, we where do we come in at? Because he pointed back towards the Jeep. I don't see a road. Like, I don't see a road behind us. I see more woods behind us. But we didn't. That looks like miles of woods, and yet we were just on a dirt road. And we came up on that sign, and then next thing you know, we're in the woods. So like, what the hell? Like, where the hell did all these woods come from? I have no idea, man. Tom said. That just freaks me the hell out, Jared said. But I can understand why these are called Forbidden Woods. I mean, you think these are the actual forbidden? So you think this is the Forbidden Woods then? Tom said. I mean, what else could it be? Jared said. I don't know. Tom said, shrugging. It could. I mean, I guess it could be. We saw the lake, but I wonder how could where'd the lake go? Or did we go somewhere? Tom said, kind of scratching his head as he looks off in the distance. All right, bro, let's quit freaking ourselves out here. Let's go get the ladies. Let's get set up. Yeah, you're right. So Tom and Jared run back to the car. And Bethany and Ann unlock the doors and let him back in. So what'd you guys find? Ann said. Jared looks over at her and is like, well, nothing. Nothing? Ann said, yeah, nothing. I mean, it's literally just woods out there. Like, we don't even know where we came in at. Bethany pointed behind them. We came in from back there. Jared's like, well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense because we didn't turn. But behind us is nothing. It looks like just miles of woods as far as we can see. Huh, okay. Ann said, so what's the plan? Are we going to just turn around? Well, no, Tom said. Like, we came here to find these woods, and I guess we found them. But we figured we would, we'd maneuver the Jeep. We'll go set up like our tents or whatever, set up a little camp, and we can still explore. But we'll try to set up a camp to try to be safe, and then when it gets daylight, we'll go walk around again. We want to stay overnight here. And said, well, that's what we plan on doing. Tom said. I mean, we could just try to turn around. No, it's fine. And said. So the four of them, they maneuvered the jeep. They went a couple, probably about 100, maybe 200 more yards, and they pulled the jeep off to the side, parked it near a tree, and then they set up their tents, kind of connected a little bit to the back of the jeep. They opened the back of the jeep kind of as a little lounge area. Their tents had these special little connectors. You could connect the three tents together, and then one of the tents had a little section that you kind of connect it to the sides of a vehicle to kind of make it where like you can almost like extra protection kind of. So as they unzip the different portions of the tent and they're setting all the sections up, Jared runs over to the Jeep and pops the hatch open and rolls out some of the fabric or whatever to kind of cover the ground, and then velcros these fasteners along the sides and pulls the parts of the tent over to connect it. I don't think, have you ever used this little setup, bro? He says, looking over at Tom. No, I bought it thinking it'd be cool, but I've never camped. But I bought it kind of thinking that maybe someday I would, and I think it's pretty cool to be able to have a tent, like a tent vehicle combo kind of, where you could fold down the seats and be inside the car, but also have it open into the little living area of the tent or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty cool, Jared said. So Jared grabbed the cooler and a little propane, cooking appliance. Anybody hungry? Jared says as he pulls everything out. Yeah, I'm starving, man. Me too, Ann says. All right, so we have like hot dogs and we have some brats in here. I have some brats and burgers. Then we got fruit and stuff. What are you guys in the mood for? Hey man, let's do some burgers. Tom said. Yeah, burgers. Ann says. I could go for some fruit. Betsy says. All right, so burgers and fruit. Gotcha. So Jared opens the little flap on the side of the tent, and then grabs a little stool and the little burner and sets up a little makeshift little stove setup, and lights the burner and starts cooking the burgers. I think we got cheese in that cooler over there, don't we, Tom? He said, looking over at Tom. Tom's like, yep, right over here. He says, pulling the package out, tossing it over to Jared. Awesome, Jared says. All right, here you go, guys, says, handing a burger to each of them. Oh, that's delicious, Tom said. Yum! And it says, oh man, so yummy, Betsy said as she takes a bite. Yep. And here's who all wants fruit? I'm good, man. I'm good. I don't need any, Tom said. So, but I'll take some, and Bethany both said. All right, cool. Here you guys go. All right, so it's getting late. Looks like it's. Dude, is it getting darker, or is it like? I feel like it's kind of stayed the same level of light. Like it's not getting darker. It's not getting brighter. It's kind of throwing me off. Jared looks around like, yeah, I just noticed that too. Like we've been here for an hour or so, and I thought it was like sunset as it was when we got here because it was kind of dark. Still with a little hint of light in the sky, and yet it's still the same. It hasn't changed. Jared says, looking around. That's kind of what I thought, Tom said. So yeah, let's just here, guys. Tom said as he reached in the car and grabbed sleeping bags and tossed one to each one. Let's just get some rest, and we'll see if maybe things feel a little less off in the morning, and we could try to explore or whatever. All right, sounds good, Jared said, handing a sleeping bag over to Bethany. As they all got in their sleeping bags and tried to get some sleep, they kept getting awoken by odd sounds throughout the night. Sometimes it was subtle sounds, like the sound of a cracking twig off in the distance. Fuck. Tom looks over at Jared, who was suddenly sitting upright. You okay, man? He said. Did you hear that? Jared said. No, I didn't hear shit. I was asleep. Tom said. Could have sworn I heard a twig snap over there. All right, bro, don't worry, we're safe. Tom said. Just go back to sleep. All right, Jared lays back down and tries to go back to sleep. Ah! All of a sudden, Jared looks up and Tom is sitting up, looking off in a different direction. So what, you hear something too? Yeah, you didn't hear that? Tom said. Hear what? Jared said. There's like a weird noise that came from that direction, pointing off in a different direction. Bro, come on, just go back to sleep, Jared said. Like you told me, it's probably just our imaginations. All right, man, all right, Tom said as he laid back down. Off in the distance. Faint enough, but still loud enough where they heard it. All four of them sat up at once. Bro, Tom said. Yeah, I heard it. Jared said. He looks over at Ann and Bethany, and they're literally they have their hand in their mouth, biting their knuckles, and are white as a ghost. Are you ladies okay? What was that? Ann said. Yeah, I'm fucking freaking the fuck out. Bethany said, looking over at Ann, looking back at the boys again. I don't know what that was, Tom said. Oh, man. All right, guys. I think we're just freaking out. Like, let's try to get some sleep. Okay, let's try to get some sleep. All right. So they lay back down. And a couple hours later, they wake up to another sound of screaming. Ah, guys, help! Tom and Jared bolt upright again. What was that? And then of course Jared looks over and goes, "Wait, where's Bethany?" The tent flap was standing wide open. Looked like it had been ripped off the zippers. And Bethany's sleeping bag was basically appeared to be shredded, and she was gone. Holy crap, where'd she go? Tom said, oh my, fuck. They all got up and ran out of the tent, looking around. Bethany, where are you at? Bethany! Bethany? Jared hollered. Bethany! And hollered out. Off in the distance. Ah! Guys, help! I think I heard her from that way, they said. As Jared said as he took off that direction. No, bro, wait! Tom said, don't run out there by yourself. Come back, guys! And said, running behind them. They ran what felt like half a mile before they stopped, their lungs burning, feeling like they're struggling to catch their breath. Anne looks over and points at one of the trees. What the hell is that? Tom looks like, what? Looks over at what she's pointing at. Holy shit. What? So and Jared's like, what? What are you guys talking about? Holy crap, says all of a sudden, look as he sees what they're pointing at. They walk over to this tree that has all of these special symbols on it. And Tom points at a couple of symbols like, what do you think these mean? Jared's like, I'm not sure. And comes over and touches him, and all of a sudden, as she touches the symbol, her eyes go ghost white, and she collapses to the ground. And Tom said, running over to her. Is she okay? Jared says, running over to her as well. I don't know, man. She's not moving. Is she breathing? Jared said, yeah, she's breathing, but like she's in a trance or something. So they stay there with Anne in her trance-like state, her eyes wide open, her eyes void of any color, for what, probably about 20 minutes before Anne all of a sudden bolted upright again. Ah! Said, sat upright. Are you okay? Are you okay? Tom said, pulling her to his arm. It's okay, babe. It's okay. You're safe. Anne, shuddering and sobbing violently. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What? Tom said. Babe, calm down. Oh my god! Oh my god! What's wrong with her? Jared said, trying to like putting a hand on her shoulder, trying to comfort, but also not knowing what to do. I don't know, man. Tom said. Babe, calm down. Here. Over the course of a couple minutes, Anne went from violently shudder sobbing to just breathing really heavily, and then looking down at the ground for a few minutes and taking deep breaths. She looked up back at them, and her eyes were white as ghost again. Babe, Tom said. Anne, are you okay? Jared said. All of a sudden, Anne started speaking, but it was not her voice that she was speaking in. How dare you? How dare you? She started speaking. Jared said, looking over at Tom. That's not her voice, man. Yeah, I know. Tom said, babe, how dare you? How dare you come into the Forbidden Woods? Jared and Tom looked back and forth at each other, then back and in. Who are you? Tom said. It does not matter who I am, son. What matters is you are not welcome here. Nobody is to enter the Forbidden Woods. Well, sir, ma'am, Jared said. Anne's face with her white eyes snapped over, looking over at Jared. Jared jumped, took a few steps back. Jared said, We're really sorry. We accidentally found our way here. Do not lie to me, boy. And in her crazy voice, the voice that was not her own, said to Jared, I'm not, I said do not lie to me, boy. And in that unfamiliar voice said again, okay, you're right. Jared said, bro, shut up. Tom said, dude, whoever this is, they obviously know what we did. They know that we intended to come here. Yes, we know you intended to come here. The voice speaking through Anne hissed at them. Yeah, okay. We came here. You know, it wasn't an accident. You know, Anne's face jerked over, snapped over to the left, and looked over at Tom. And Tom, ah, jumped as he saw the facial expression that Anne was making at him. Yeah, okay. I admit it. Tom said, we shouldn't have come here. I'm sorry. Can we have our other both our friends back? Why did you come to the Forbidden Woods? The voice hissed. We don't know, Jared said, as Anne's face snapped back towards him. Okay. Yeah, we you shall kneel, the voice hissed. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Jared said, kneeling on the ground. And then Anne's face jerked over to Tom. He looked at her and then looked over at Jared with this expression and shrugged like, what? Dude, Jared said, kneel. Okay, yeah. Tom says as he's lowering himself to the ground. Yes, ma'am. We out with it, boy! The voice hissed out of Anne's body. Okay, Tom said. We, I'd heard, I had heard, if you don't start speaking, boy, I'm going to rip you to shreds. Okay, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just, all of a sudden, like, Jared yells at him, dude, fucking tell her! Okay, alright, yeah, Tom said, I'm, like, starting to cry. We just, are you fucking crying, boy? Shit! Hey, let me tell you instead, Jared says, I don't want to die, please. Her head snapped over with the fierce gaze. Now her eyes had a red tint to them. Speak, the voice said. All right. Jared said, like my friend is trying to say over there, we had heard rumors of there being a what, boy? A forbidden woods back here. Jared said, and you thought you would just come here, did you? Yeah, we did. Why? And hissed. Um, because Jared was trying to get the words out, but he found himself so terrified by the not just the sound of the voice coming out of Anne that was not her own, but the eyes that had a white tint to them with a red glow. Jared took a deep breath. Okay. Yeah, it was stupid. We shouldn't have come here. We just wanted to come out here and see if these woods, see if they actually were here, if they were real. And we didn't think they were real. Why didn't you think they were real? And his fuck. Like, speak, boy. Okay. We because the maps that we have, they just show a lake out here, and so we thought we'd come out this way and try to dispel the rumors that we'd heard. But what, boy? Oh shit! Jared said, looking down at the ground and now starting to tear up himself because of how terrified he was. Anne's head snapped back and forth between looking at Jared and looking at Tom, and then back at Jared again. She hissed. Fuck! Both guys said at once. You will answer me! Dude, fucking answer her. I'm too terrified to talk, man, Tom said, looking over. You're terrified. If you guys don't speak up now, you're both dead. Shit, okay. Jason, please don't kill us, please. We thought we'd dispel the rumors that there was a wooded area back here that was forbidden. And what? when we saw the lake, right, bro? Yeah, Thompson. Jared continued. When we saw the lake, it um we thought that basically that the rumors of the haunted or the haunted the voice is. Well, no, not haunted. No. The Forbidden Wood. Jared continued. When we saw the lake, we thought the rumors of the Forbidden Wood were just bullshit. So let me get this straight. The voice is. Both Jared and Tom found themselves lowering further closer to the ground, burying their heads in their hands. The voice continued. You thought it was bullshit, right? Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. They both said as they both quivered. So then why did you continue to go forward? I don't know. We thought that maybe Jared started. Tom took a deep breath and chimed in. We thought, ma'am, that there wasn't gonna be anything out here, and so we went a little further in, and then before we knew it, we found ourselves here. And what do you want now? The voices. We want our friends back, and we just want to go. We'll please can we get please give us our friends back, and we'll leave. Why should I give you your friends back? Please, ma'am, please. We will leave. We swear. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. The voices. I'm gonna leave you two boys alone for tonight. What? Tom said. What are you talking about? Jared said. You dare interrupt me? No, I'm sorry, ma'am. Sorry. The voice continued. Like I said, I'm gonna leave you boys alone for tonight. I'm going to. As she caressed herself by brushing her hand on her shoulder and then caressing her hair. I'm going to keep this body for now. What? No, Tom said. And silence! Okay, Tom said, quivering to the ground. I'm going to keep this body for now. I will visit you tomorrow, and I will let you know what you boys will need to do to get your friends back. Oh, okay. Until then, stay where your tents are. If I catch you anywhere outside your tent until the sun rises again, you're both, as well as your female friends, are dead. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am, they both said. But what about, and there's a sudden gust of wind and a bright flash, and all of a sudden, Jared and Tom, having covered their eyes from the flash, looked around, and they were all alone. Both Anne and Bethany were gone. They hurried and ran back to the where the car and the tents were set up, and they both got inside the tent and zipped it up. They both sat on separate ends of the tent, pillows in their arms, their knees up to their chests, staring off into space with their eyes completely wet from being on the verge of tears. Tom, shuddering, looks over at Jared. Bro, yeah. What? What's up, man? Jared said, barely even looking up. Well, what are we gonna do? Tom says, I don't know, man. Jared says, like, you think we'll get him back? Tom's like, you have to, man. Like, man, he said, all of a sudden just burying his face into his pillow and starts sobbing. Jared looks down. Yeah, and Bethany. Dude, what if we don't get him back? Don't say that, man, Tom said. Well, what if we don't? Jared said, looking up at him. We got to, Tom said. Well, Jared said, looking up at him and wiping his eyes. Well, I mean, whatever was inside Ann told us that it would come back in the morning or whatever. So I say we just try to get some sleep, bro. He said, looking over at Tom. I mean, I'll try, Tom says, but are you gonna be able to sleep? Jared's like, no, probably not. I'm too freaking the fuck out. And, we're too worried about the girls. Yeah, me too, Tom said. Well, let's try to sleep at least. Let's at least lay down and we'll see what happens, Tom said. I'll try, but I'm not gonna sleep probably, man. I'm telling you right now, Jared said. So the two of them grab their sleeping bags and zip themselves completely up with the pillow and basically their whole bodies and the pillow inside the sleeping bag zipped all the way up. Jared, as he's inside the sleeping bag, trying to force himself to take deep breaths. He's, hey, bro, from across the other side of the tent, also fully zipped up inside his sleeping bag. Yeah, what's up, man? Tom said. Me, it's actually pretty buggy out here. I'm hot as hell in the sleeping bag, but I feel safer at least zipped up like this. Heard Tom shuffled a little bit. Yeah, man, it's crazy how, when dealing with, like, things that go bump in the night or whatever the fuck, like, covering yourself with your blanket or, in this case, a sleeping bag actually makes you feel better. Yeah, man. All right, well, you feeling tired yet? Jared said, no. Tom said, what about you? Nope. I'm too freaked out, man. Yeah, me too, Tom said. Anyway, good night, man. Jared said, good night, bro. They both close their eyes and try to sleep. As morning came, they heard noise outside the tent. Jared was the first one to unzip his sleeping bag and peek out. Hey, bro, he said, whispering over. You awake? Yeah, I didn't even sleep, man. I've been awake all night, Tom said. Yeah, me too, man. You hear that? What the fuck is that? Tom said. I don't know, man. It's probably whatever that thing was that was in Ann probably come back. Shit, I want to go out there, Tom said. Yeah, me either, man, Jared said. Oh, boys! They heard outside. Both Tom and Jerry looked at each other and just shuddered. Fuck. So, get out here now, they heard the low, growling hiss. All right, we're coming, Jared said. Both Jared and Tom slowly made their way out of their sleeping bags, unzipped their tent, and came out. And still wearing what she was the night before, was standing beside a tree near about 20 feet away from the tents. As they approached her, Jerry looked over at Tom. He's like, bro, like, does she look different to you? Hey, ma'am, did you do something different with your hair? Silence! Okay, sorry. Both Tom and Jared had noticed that even though she was wearing the same outfit she was the day before, she had this. Not only did she have the white eyes with a hint of a red glow to them, but she also had a faint glow around her body as if they could see her aura, but it was kind of dark in a way that they couldn't tell if she's really glowing or if they're imagining it. So, ma'am, you said, kneel! She said. She cut him off. Yes, ma'am. They both, Jared and Tom, knelt to the ground. So, ma'am, you said, like, today you would tell us how we can get our friends back. Yes, she hissed. Put a finger to her chin and looked off to the side. Both Jared and Tom kind of looked at each other, and they looked back at Ann, and then they looked back at each other, and then back at Ann again. Tom said, silence! Ann said, jerking her head over to him. Yes, ma'am, sorry. You will speak when spoken to, she hissed. Yes, ma'am, both of them said. So they both just knelt there watching her, and they're looking back at each other, and they're looking back at Ann, and suddenly Ann's head slowly turned and looked back towards the boys. So, it hissed, anybody who ventures to these woods must pay a price. A price for what? Tom said. A price, she hissed, to get those they love back. And if they don't pay that price, then their loved ones are gone forever. Where do they go, ma'am? Jared said. With me, forever. And what are you? Tom said. Silence, she said. Tom and Jerry all of a sudden lowered out of the ground and tried to hold back their tears for being so terrified. What you boys will do if you want both your friends returned to you is there are 2 quests you must complete. Quests? Tom said. Yes, she hissed. What you boys will do is you must search these woods. You must follow the trees. Any trees that you see that have special symbols on them. Well, what kind of symbols, Tom said? Symbols like what you saw last night, it hissed again. Oh, okay. And when we see the symbols, what do we do? You follow these symbols, and when you see a symbol, pay attention to the direction that symbol is pointing. Go that direction. You will find another tree, and you'll see another symbol. And by the time you get to a symbol that looks like a star with 5 random dots above it, you're going to want to dig right there at the side of that tree. Oh, okay, Tom said. So, is that the end of the quest, or is that... Silence, she said. Okay, sorry. That is where you will find the first item for the first quest. Okay, they both said. When you get that item, it's going to give you a diagram, a map, if you will. That diagram on that item is going to direct you on where you need to go to get the second item. Now once you find that second item, you will bring those back to me. And then perhaps I will return your friends to you. Perhaps? Jared said. Yes, perhaps. Oh, okay. When do we start? You start now, she hissed, and there was a flash and a gust of wind, and she was gone. Jared and Tom both got to their feet and looked at each other. All right, bro. Jared said, so where do you want to? Where should we? She said we had to find, like, which direction we go. She said we had to find trees, right? That had symbols on them. Tom's like, yeah. I say let's just pick a direction. Tom said. I mean, I guess we could do that. Jared said. Let's go this way. Tom said, pointing off in a certain direction. So Tom and Jared started walking that direction, and in their heads, they all of a sudden heard the hissing voice. You'll never find it unless you split up. They froze in fear. Did you hear that, bro? Jared said, yeah, I heard it. Tom said, okay, well I guess I'll go over this way, because I'll go over here like 20 or 30 feet over that way, and we'll just keep looking at trees or whatever. That sounds good, Tom said. So they made their way through the forest, a couple hundred yards, looking at random trees. Hey, bro, Jared said. What? Tom said from a little ways away, looking at trees himself. I found one. Oh, cool, Tom said, running over. The tree they had found looked like it was at least 500 years old. It had a very wide base, and in the middle of the tree, it got wider, and then as it got to the top of the tree, it got really narrow, and there was it got really thin at the top, and looked like it had one small long branch just kind of hung down from the top. Dude, that's a fucking ugly tree, Tom said. Yeah, no shit, Jared said. But anyway, let's see. So check this out, man. Pointed at the symbol that was on the side of the tree. Alright, so it's it kind of looks like some kind of hand, and it's pointing this way, like off at an angle, like kind of up to the side and off to the left here. I wonder if that means we go over towards those trees over there, Jared said. I mean, it's worth a shot, Tom said. So they both start making their way over that direction. And Tom looks over at Jared and says, "But didn't she say that we needed to split up?" Yeah, I think, yeah, Jared said, but we found the symbol, and I figure let's stay together over here unless she tells us we have to split up, because I mean, obviously we don't want to piss whatever that thing is off, but if she's not in her head, then we're probably doing what we got to do, I guess. Yeah, you're probably right, Tom says. All right, so they kept making their way down the through the woods. They went like 3 trees diagonally to their left, and all of a sudden Tom runs up to the next tree. Bro, look! What? Is there? Oh, sweet. Jared says he noticed what Tom was pointing at. This tree had another picture that looked kind of like a hand, but it was in a different formation on the tree, with the palm open, the fingers kind of closed just a little bit. And Tom goes, "What do you think that means?" And he said, "I don't know." But they looked at that symbol, and he goes, "I don't know, I wonder." And he stands off to the side of the tree, and then kind of makes the same motion with his hand, and he goes, "Well, if I make the symbol with my hand, it kind of points me over towards this set of trees over here. I don't know if that maybe I'm totally off base with that, but Tom's like, well, I mean, it makes sense. We could try it, because I mean, I don't know what that symbol means, but we could try it. It probably might mean what you're thinking." So he's like, all right, let's go. He said that, so they start walking. They go about 20 yards, and they come to another tree, and this tree, they see as they get closer, they're looking around on it. They're like, I don't see any symbols on this tree though. And they go around to the back of the tree, or the other side of the tree, and they oh, look right here, the symbol is close to the ground. And did she say it's a star? Like it's supposed to be a star with 5 dots? Check this out, bro. Jared says, pointing something. Oh, wow. Tom says as he notices what he's pointing at, and like they kneel down on the ground and they see the star. So I guess we dig, huh? Jared says, yeah. Fuck, I left the tools or whatever we had for camping or whatever. They're back at the car or whatever. I guess we dig by hand, or let's see. Jared says, look. Jared says, looking around. Hey, there's some rocks over here. Maybe that'll help. Grabs some big stones and hands one to Tom, and they start digging at the ground right there by the tree. They dig, get about a half a foot down, and they strike something. They pull it out, and it looks like a stone tablet. The stone tablet, and it has a symbol, and it shows that basically the symbol looks like another tree, but it has, on the symbol, it has some weird looking branches on the top. Tom and Jared look at each other and look back at the tablet. What do you think it means? Jared said. Well, I mean, I think she said that we find an object at the first tree, and then we find something, and then we'd have to find that the item would direct us or whatever. I don't even remember exactly what she said, but did she say the item would help us find the second quest or whatever it is? Yeah, you're probably right, Tom said. So they were looking at the tablet and looking at the tree. Jared goes, I wonder. Tom's like, what? Jared he stands up and he starts looking around the forest. What are you looking for, man? Tom said. Shut up, hold on. Jared held the tablet up and then looked off in the distance and goes, can it really be that easy? Tom said, what are you talking about? And Jared says, get up here, look. So Tom stands up, comes over to him, and he looks off in the direction he's pointing, and there's a tree way, way off in the distance that looks different than all the other trees. The tree they're looking at, they can barely see it, but from what they can see, it looks very similar to what's the image on the tablet. I mean, could it be though? Tom said, I mean, I don't know, let's go. So they grab the tablet, they start walking. They get halfway there, seeming like they've been walking for hours, and they're huffing and puffing. And Jared looks over, and Tom's like, "Dude, how far is this fucking tree? It didn't seem that far." Tom looks over at Jared, looks back over the tree, and is like, "Dude, I don't even feel like we're getting any closer. It just feels like it's getting further away." Let's just keep going, man, Jared said. So they kept working their way that way, and eventually they found that they were actually getting closer, and they were coming up on that tree. So they get to the tree, and they realize that as they get closer, they see a symbol on the tree. Oh, here we go, bro. So maybe this is the second quest. Yeah, maybe, Tom said. So the symbol on the tree, this time it showed a carving of another tree, but this one looked a little bit different, and this one had like a circle above it that looked like a sun. I don't know what that means. And Jared kind of put his finger to his temple as he was looking at it, staring. And he goes, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know either." And he looks off to the side towards the sun. And he looks at the sun, with the sun that's kind of like this red, just a red faint glow in the distance. And then he looks back at the symbol, and he looks back at the sun again, and he pauses, and Tom looks over where he's looking at, and he goes, "Wait, like what are you looking at, bro?" I mean, look, Jared says, pointing off towards the sun. He goes, like, look at the sun, and then look technically straight below it. What do you see? And then he looks down where the sun is located, kind of on the horizon, and he looks down from where the sun is currently located, and he looks back at the tree. He goes, I mean, I think I see it. Technically, if you come straight down from the sun, that comes to a tree, and that kind of looks like that on the it's carved into the tree here. Like, could that be it? I mean, let's go check it out. So they start making their way to that area of the forest, and Jared looks at him and goes, "Bro, keep an eye on that tree, because I already feel kind of like I'm getting lost in these woods." Tom looks over at him and goes, "Yeah, I kind of have the same feeling. I'll stare at that tree and make sure that that I don't lose sight of it." So they keep walking, and again, it feels like it takes them half a day to get to that tree. It feels like they're walking forever. Time seems to stand still. They feel like they're walking for miles, and just as they feel like they want to give up, they realize they're getting closer, and they come upon the tree. They walk up to the tree, and they automatically notice that there's another symbol on this tree. "Oh, bro, look," Jared says. All right, so this one, it has another hand kind of picture on it, but it's curved the other direction. And let me see what you did last time, bro. And Tom stands beside the tree, and he puts his hand in that motion and faces it in a certain direction. He goes, "Based on this, it looks like it would go towards that tree over there. You think?" And he looks over at Jared, and Jared goes, "Well, hold on. Let me try it." So he puts his hand in that same shape that's on the tree, and of course he goes, "Yeah, look, that's what I'm getting too." So they make their way over to that tree, which is about another 40 yards away. The entire time that they're out here in the woods checking these trees out, they're hearing twigs snap in the distance, which is making them pause and look around. They're hearing what sounds like screaming off in the distance, and every time there's a little bit of a scream off in the distance, it's so faint that they can barely hear it, but yet it's loud enough that they know that something definitely made a noise. They just force themselves to keep going. "Bro, I'm fucking scared in these woods, man," Tom said. "Me too, man. I hope, like, I don't want to be out here after. I want to be back in the tent, after dark or whatever. Like, I don't want to be out here in the dark, man. Like, I've heard rumors, man, of there being people that got stranded in the woods after dark, and basically, like, all they could do is just, like, stay where they're at and just, like, camp out by whatever tree they're at and just wait for it to get light again, and they make their way out of the woods." Tom's like, "Yeah, I've heard that too. Like, I don't want that. But hold on, hey, look, here's a tree, man," he says as they come up on it. As they come up on the tree, they notice there's another symbol of a star with five dots above it. "All right, cool. Hey, shit, we left the rocks back there at that one place." So "Yeah, well, I guess we gotta dig by hand," Jared said. "Man," Tom said. So they both kneel down, and Tom looks over at the tablet. "Like, we could use that." Jared's like, "And you want to risk breaking this and like seeing what happens with whatever's inside of it?" Yeah, you're right, man." Tom says, "Fuck that. I'm practically, crapping myself as it is because of how scared I am." "All right, so let's dig. Come on." Jared says they start digging right there at the side of the tree. They get about 4 or 5 inches down, and they feel they hit something solid. They pull it out, and this time it's a flat object, kind of like the tablet, but this one is actually carved into like a stone shape, like they can't. Tom picks it up and looks at it like, what the hell is that? I don't fucking know, Jared says. I mean, look at it, he says, kind of like tracing his fingers over it. The more they looked at it, the more they thought it looked like a small carved version of a tree, like one of the weird looking trees. It had a round, wide base to it, but then it got wider in the middle, and then it got narrow at the top with a small weird little branch or whatever at the top, and this had a weird small symbol on the front of it. So you think we gotta? So what do we do now? Jared said. Well, didn't she say we had to find 2 objects? I found 2 objects, or she said we had to find 2 objects, and then basically we had to bring those back to her. All right, let's go. Where the hell is the car from here? Jared said, looking around. Tom looks around and then points off in a direction. I think it's that way, because I recognize some of those trees over there. All right, Jared said. So they started making their way over that direction. And as you know, they could tell off in the distance as the longer they walked, they could see the bright yellow of the Jeep, but it looked like it was like a pinprick in the distance. Dude, how far the fuck are we? Jared said. I don't know, man. Tom said as they kept walking. They walked for what felt like hours more, and they still didn't feel like they were very close. So they both stopped for a little bit, sat down leaning against a tree, tried to rest. All of a sudden in their heads, they hear, "Why are you stopping, boys?" Oh shit, they both said, jumping up and continuing on. Huffing and puffing and scared out of their minds, they both kept looking at each other and then looking back towards the Jeep as they were making their way across the wooded area. Finally, they could tell that the Jeep was actually getting bigger and they were getting closer. So when they made it to the Jeep, they made their way inside the tent and zipped themselves up, and then sat in their separate corners and looked at each other from inside the tent. So what now? Jared said. I don't fucking know, Tom said. They heard rustling outside. They looked at each other and then looked at the door of the tent again. Do you want to go out there? Jared said. Not really, Tom said. Oh, boys, they heard from outside. Shit, Tom said, looking over at Jared. Okay, man, let's get this over with, Jared said, looking over him. So they unzipped the flap and it came out. And as they approached Anne, they slowly made their way over to her. And Tom started to speak, and Anne raised a hand up in the air with a snap, and all of a sudden both Tom's and Jared's legs gave out and they were on their knees within a split second. There was a little bit of a snap, and as they ended up on their knees, they were like, "Oh shit, oh yes ma'am, sorry, okay. Did you find the items?" "Yes ma'am, we did." "Give them to me," she said. May I stand?" Tom said. "You may." Tom stood up, grabbed the item that he was carrying, went over to Jared and grabbed the tablet. Slowly made his way over to Anne. "You've done well. What have we learned, boys?" "Learned?" Tom said, still standing in front of Anne. Before he could finish his question, Anne snapped her hand up in the air again, and Tom's legs gave out, and he was kneeling on the ground again. "Ow!" he said. "Yes, what have we learned, boys?" Jared says, "I don't know that, we haven't learned anything. Then your friends are gone forever. No, ma'am, no. Oh, Jared and Tom both yelled. We learned not to come to the woods and to stay away. Very, very good, she hissed. And there's one more thing before I give you your friends back, she said. And what's that? Tom said. When you leave here, you must warn others. Nobody else should come here ever again. If even one person sets foot in this realm. Realm? Tom said. Silence! She yelled. Sorry, ma'am, sorry. If one person sets foot inside this realm again, not only will they die, but wherever you guys are, I will come for you too. Oh my God, Tom said. Yes, ma'am, Jared said. Very well. Close your eyes, both of you, she said. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, she said. Yes, ma'am, but said closing their eyes. All of a sudden, they heard the hissing voice randomly start chanting some words they could not understand. Shartaka, Shiabushi, Napara Andy, Oshinaka Takacha. This big bright flash, gust of wind, and when they opened their eyes, they were alone again by that tree. From behind them, all of a sudden in the tent. Guys? Hello? Holy crap, what are we doing in here? They heard Ann and Bethany's voices in the tent. Holy shit, they're back! Both Tom and both Tom and Jared ran back to the tent and saw that their friends were in the tent in their sleeping bags as if they had never left. What happened? Bethany said. Where'd you guys come from? What were you doing out there? Ann said. Jared and Tom all looked at each other. Do you guys not remember anything? Like, well, no. What do you mean? Like, we just literally would. Guys, we just went to bed like a little while ago, and then we woke up and you guys were gone. Bethany said. No, Bethany, like, you were gone. Like, gone. What the hell do you mean gone? Bethany said. I mean, you disappeared, and then something took over your body, Ann. Ann and Bethany looked at each other and kind of laughed. Both Tom and Jared looked at each other, and they looked back at the girls. What are you guys laughing about? Guys, we haven't gone anywhere. Like, babe, I think you were sleepwalking, Ann said. He wasn't sleepwalking, Jared said. I mean, maybe you're both are sleepwalking, Bethany said. Neither of us are sleepwalking, okay? Jared said. All right, babe, calm down. What, like, this is all very confusing. Like, why? Look, Jared said. We gotta go. We gotta get out of here. And we'll tell you guys all about it when we, as we leave here. We just got here. Ann said. Guys, ladies, we just gotta go. Please, can we go? They both, Tom and Jared, kind of got teary-eyed a little bit because they were still terrified. Oh my God, you guys, what's wrong with you guys? What's wrong? Bethany said. Please, can we leave? Jared said. All right, fine, let's go. Bethany said. So they started packing up their stuff back in the Jeep. And then Bethany looks over at Tom, goes, do we even know how to get out of here? Tom's like, I'm just going to turn the fuck around and drive the other direction and hope for the best. Guys, are you guys really going to tell us what happened? Ann said, yeah, let's just get out of here first. Yeah, totally. Jared said. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. What the hell happened to you guys? Bethany said. We'll tell you in a minute. So they started making their way back the same direction they felt that they had come from. As they looked around and stuff, they realized obviously the forests all looked the same. So they were hoping for the best, and basically basically turned the Jeep around and drove straight back from where they were facing. As they drove, slowly making their way through the forest, there was a bright flash, and all of a sudden they were back on a road again, and wide open grass. They had in the mirror behind them, they could see the lake that they saw when they were coming in. And then, of course, another 50 yards or so, they could see the sign in the middle of the road saying, "Keep out." They drive up to the sign, and Tom takes out some other stuff from the Jeep and puts stuff on both sides of the sign and basically writes more messages on it. "What are you guys doing?" Bethany said, looking at Tom and Jared. They had created 2 more signs and then had a little rope, little wire cable that they connected all 3 signs, putting and blocking the entire road. And on each sign they said, "Stay out, do not continue on, restricted area, danger, turn around." Bethany and Ann both look at each other, and they look back at the boys, like, confusion on their faces, wondering what the hell happened. And then they take other signs, they put other signs even out beside the road, telling them, "Do not go around these signs." And then other signs, "Seriously, turn around." And then they put one big sign behind the other sign that says, "You're gonna die if you keep going." Ann and Bethany at this point are like white as ghosts, watching what Jared and Tom are doing. But they don't question. They just stay silent as they watch their friends work. So then they watch as Jared pulls out a can of spray paint, red spray paint, and he paints a picture of the basically the hell hell symbol with the star inside a circle just past the signs. And he looks over at Tom. You think that'll be enough?" He said. Tom's like, "I mean, I would be scared. I probably wouldn't have passed the sign if that symbol was there when we came on earlier." "Holy crap, guys! What the fuck?" Ann says. "Babe, we'll tell you. We're finished. Hold on. Let's get back in the Jeep and get the hell out of here. We'll tell you." "Okay," Ann said. So they get back in the Jeep and they continue back on towards home. And as they're making their way home, Tom and Jared, bit by bit, kind of fill them in on what happened. Jared, of course, talking to Bethany. Bethany's freaking out because, "So what? I was just gone? You don't know where I was?" "Yeah, we don't know where you were." Jared says, "Yeah, not a clue," Tom said. "But and I just came back with Bethany with Ann when she came back." "Yeah, pretty much," the boy said. So they continued on towards home, continuing to fill the girls in on what happened. And when they got home, Tom and Jared got on the computer, and they got on one of the sites where they heard the rumor about there being a forbidden woods in that area, and basically they made a comment in that woods or in that forum, basically saying, this is a warning. Nope, like, more people, even though they made it back, they did another warning on there basically claiming that more people had disappeared going out that way, that now there was even a evil symbol behind, or at the border, and they said, like, anybody goes out that way will die. If you go that way, you will die. Do not go out that way. They heard over the course of the next couple weeks, the coming weeks, months, that a few groups had kind of tried to go out that way, but thankfully they didn't. They saw the signs and the symbols, and they turned around and came back. As time went on, bit by bit, the lingering fear and worry and dread about the idea that somebody might one day ignore the signs and go back in that area, end up in the Forbidden Woods, and that whatever that being was that possessed Anne would come for them. That feeling began to fade over time, the more time that passed. Both couples ended up getting married and getting their own houses and starting to live their lives and hanging out from time to time to do barbecues and basically telling ghost stories and incorporating their experience in the Forbidden Woods in their stories. As they would sit around the fire drinking beer and telling the story, and they'd have friends that would say, "You guys are so full of shit." "Yeah, maybe," Tom would say, looking over at Jared and grinning. "Yeah, you're probably right," Jared said. "Yeah, we're full of shit. We're just, this is total crap. You should definitely not believe us, whatever." And that's how they would do it. They would treat it like it was just a random ghost story, and that they were just trying to scare people, whatever. And thankfully, they never again heard of anybody making their way out towards the Forbidden Woods. And the two couples, now definitely after their experience, lifelong friends, hung out on a regular basis, always keeping tabs on that area through the internet, through all the posts or whatever. Or as time passed, the posts online dwindled, and now there was rarely ever a post about it. On occasion, they would see a post asking if it was true, and they would pop in there and try to dispel any curiosity about it, and try to dispel any temptation to go out that way. So as they took on that mantle of trying to be the guardians of that supernatural area, and try to keep people away for everybody's sake, they ended up remaining friends for the rest of their lives and living long, happy lives, and never having anything supernatural like that, or fearing that their lives were going to be in danger from something some being they couldn't explain. Never had to deal with any of that stuff. The fear, the worry, the terror, ever again. They hung out. Both couples had children. Casually told their children the stories as well, but played it off as just a simple story and didn't say where the area was, but just that there was this one haunted wooded area that they went to. "Dad, you're so full of shit," Jared's kid would say. "Hey, language, young man." "I'm sorry, Dad, I'm sorry." "Is that place real, Daddy?" Tom and Anne's daughter would say. No, you know how it is, baby. It's literally just stories that me and your uncle Jared, made up, whatever, just stories. That's all. Okay. Anne would just look over at him and look over at Jared. They would all kind of grin, but shake their heads like, yeah. So as time passed, the two couples and their families went on about their lives and watched out for one another, kept an eye on the forums online to make sure that they would keep on top of stuff if somebody posted, and keeping each other safe. And the four of them and their kids and their future grandkids and all of their families lived happily ever after, never dealing with any of the scary stuff or life-threatening adventures ever again. The end. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you being here. Hope you guys like the story. I know it was kind of basic. I don't know. I feel the same way whenever I tell a story. When I come up with the story off the top of my head, when I'm telling it, like, I don't know if this sounds that good. But then I listen to the story when it posts, and of course I'm like, oh, that's actually not bad. I mean, I feel decent about the story. I think that, as I was telling it and it was kind of unfolding, I was like, okay, not too bad, you know. Some of these stories, when I do the freestyle stories, I think to myself, I'm like, this would actually, like, I could make like small, like, actual, like, TV episodes with some of these freestyle stories that I tell, because you know how, like, episodes for shows that you watch might be like half hour, 40 minutes or whatever. Sometimes I've had episodes for shows only be like 20 minutes long. Those are the series that you end up, like, you know, they might have, hey, guess what? They have 100 episodes, but they're 20 minutes long. So then, like, before you know it, you're already through all the seasons. It's like, all right. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. As I'm always saying, you know, you gotta push forward and keep doing what you gotta do. And so it's like, before I start telling the story, I'm all freaking out with myself, going, I gotta get a story told for the show. And then as I'm like a quarter of the way or halfway through the story, then I'm feeling a little bit better about it, because it's like when you, like, for those of you writers out there or storytellers or whatever, as you're telling a story, especially from scratch, like if it's not something, if it's something you're just coming up with off the top of your head, you end up, like, at least for me, as I'm telling the story, the more I tell the story, then the ideas start flowing in, and all of a sudden, like, it just, especially when I'm writing it on the computer, I'll be writing it, and as I'm writing it, more ideas are coming in there, and the story develops on the page, just continues to develop on the page, and I go from one idea to the next, to the next plot, next situation that happens, this and that, whatever, and then of course you get to a point in the story where you've covered quite a bit, so a lot of things have happened, and you get to a point where you start to feel like you're starting to envision the closing of the story, like, oh cool, like I'm at this point, and in order for them to survive this ordeal, they gotta do such and such, and work their way over here, do this and that, like with this story with the creature that was inside Anne, which of course we still have no idea what that was, but you know, mysterious presence that took over her body, and of course we have no idea what happened to Bethany, you know. So it's like she just kind of appeared back whenever they did the quest or whatever. So it's like that again, it's like the other freestyle stories I've told where I'm like, technically I could branch off and do another story that kind of, you know, and maybe I will, who knows? Or maybe I'll actually write one to kind of tie in to some of these freestyle stories to make like a sequel, kind of. But right now I'm just trying to keep consistent and get these stories out to you guys every week and keep these episodes coming, you know. So anyway, it's always fun, you know, especially when I get part way into the story and I realize I'm like, oh, cool, all right, here it goes. Like, I'm actually rocking and rolling. Awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed it. So in closing, you know what I always say, guys, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. We don't fail unless we quit, give up, and walk away. So if we keep getting back up, then you haven't failed. And you know what I always say about, like, I think it's Thomas Edison that he didn't find 1,000 ways, or he didn't fail 1,000 ways. He actually found 1,000 ways that didn't work, and so there was 1,001st way that actually succeeded. So as long as you keep trying, you can have as many quote unquote failed attempts as you want. As long as you get up and try again, the next attempt might be the success. So. But again, as I said at the beginning of this episode, guys, any creative writers out there, if you want me to feature tell your story on the show, feel free to send them to me at blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on social again at Blodgett Show Podcast on Insta, T and Trucker Chris on Insta, TikTok, and Facebook. See AZ Freedom on X. tandtruckerchris.wordpress.com for the blog, which I'm actually probably gonna be resuming that. It's one of those where, like, I want to be able to upload like photos, video, and stuff like that, not just text. But I've over the past, with trying the different side gigs, I was doing advertising on there, and of course I'm at a point now where I can't upload a photo or a video without upgrading my account, paying for like a membership or whatever. So, because I guess I ran out of room or something. I don't know. You can only have so much content on there unless you pay. So that'll be another thing too. Anybody who wants to support the show will help with, like, blog fee. I guess I would call it hosting or whatever, or the subscription or whatever. The podcast hosts platform, as well as like publishing costs or anything like that, or future merch costs, to help with all that stuff. So anybody who wants to help move the show along, definitely appreciate you donating. blodgettshow.com/support. But on that note, I will let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the story. Definitely come back on Tuesday for the next Real Talk Tuesday. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me and putting up with me every week. Hopefully I make it worth your while with the stories. And I will talk to you in the next one. Have a good one.